All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this really radical idea that the future of artificial intelligence won't be decided by code, but by something far more elemental, atomic power. So let's break down what this atomic pivot is all about. Okay, so this quote, it really cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? The argument here is that the AI revolution has basically hit a physical wall. I mean, we're not just talking about algorithms anymore. This has become a raw, primal fight for the one resource AI can't make for itself, pure, massive-scale energy. So let's talk about AI's big physical problem. To build these incredible superintelligences, big tech has to construct data centers that are practically the size of small cities. And those cities are incredibly thirsty for power. Suddenly, the digital world has a very real, very physical resource crisis on its hands.
And look, we're not talking about just any kind of power. There are three, non-negotiable demands here. The scale has to be absolutely massive. We're talking about powering whole nations. The supply has to be uninterrupted 24/7, because even a millisecond of downtime could ruin a model that took months to train. And it has to be carbon-free to meet climate targets. So finding something that ticks all three of those boxes, yeah, that's the holy grail.
Okay, this is where it gets kind of crazy. This number is a total bombshell. A JPMorgan alert mentioned in the source material shows that for every single unit of power we can produce, AI is already demanding 3. That is a massive gap. That kind of mismatch creates what the source calls a supercycle, basically a golden age for anyone who actually owns the power. So who's actually trying to solve this massive energy puzzle? Well, the source points to a really surprising player, a crypto company called Bitmine Immersion Technologies, or BMNR. And even though they're all about digital money, their real play seems to be something much bigger and way more physical. And this is the big question, right? You've got BMNR sitting on this absolute mountain of digital assets like Ethereum. So why on earth are they dumping money into physical power plants? It makes you wonder, what do they see that the rest of us are missing? And let's be clear, BMNR is no small fry. We're talking about a serious player here. Just look at these numbers from early 2026. Over $14 billion in assets. It's the 44th most traded stock in the US. That's more trading activity than a giant like Home Depot. So yeah, when a company this big pivots into energy, you know it's not just a random guess. It's a major calculated move. So the answer to that puzzle, according to the source material, is this huge market shift that's happening kind of under the radar. It's called the Great Nuclear Rotation, and apparently it's where the really smart money is quietly making its move. So what exactly is this Great Nuclear Rotation? Well, the idea is pretty straightforward. Money is moving away from the obvious AI plays, the super expensive chip stocks, and it's going into the thing that actually powers them all, nuclear energy. And it's not going to the big guys. It's targeting these smaller, micro-cap companies, the ones that are agile enough to innovate, but still small enough to fly under Wall Street's radar. But here's the thing, and this is super important. We're not talking about those giant, old-school nuclear power plants you might be picturing. Nope. This whole rotation is focused on a very specific and, honestly, game-changing new technology. And this is the tech at the very heart of this entire thesis: small modular reactors, or SMRs. Seriously, forget everything you think you know about nuclear plants. These are tiny, compact reactors, small enough that you can literally build one right inside a data center. It completely changes the game. Okay, so what happens when you take this brand new nuclear tech and you combine it with, say, a crypto company's existing infrastructure? Well, you get what the source calls the ultimate synergy. You get something they've dubbed a digital mint. And the strategy laid out in the source is like this 4-step master plan. It's brilliant. First, BMR uses its amazing liquid immersion cooling tech. Then they plug in their very own SMR right on site. And this is the key move right here. It lets them just cut the cord from the electrical grid. Bye-bye middleman, bye-bye all those extra costs. And what you're left with is the self-powered, crazy profitable operation, the digital mint. So this whole thing kind of forces you to completely rethink how to invest in AI. It's that classic picks and shovels analogy for a gold rush, but the tools themselves, they've completely changed. Okay, so think of this AI boom as the new gold rush. Just a couple years back, the picks and shovels you needed were the GPUs, right? The brains of the operation. But the argument now is that today, the real essential tools aren't the brains anymore. They're the brawn. It's the uranium and the SMRs, the raw power that makes the whole thing go. So when you boil it all down, the thesis we've been looking at comes down to one simple, powerful idea. The winners in the AI race, they're not going to be the folks with the smartest code. They're going to be the ones who control the power. In this new world, physical energy infrastructure, that's the new kingmaker, period. And all this leaves us with one last really big question. As AI's appetite for energy just keeps growing and growing, is this nuclear pivot the final answer? Or could something else, maybe like next-gen solar, swoop in and steal the show? The race for power is definitely on, and whoever wins, well, they're going to shape our future.